Diaspora Conference to you straight from Montego Bay. Join us live for Riverside Wrap-Up or post-conference show packed with highlights, inspiring stories, and a whole lot of fun. Don't miss out on the excitement. Catch the vibes, join the conversation, and reconnect with your roots. Visit www.mfaft.gov.jm to learn more. Riverside Wrap-Up, June 17 to 19 in Montego Bay. See you there.
In the heart of the Caribbean, a call echoes across the globe, a call for a momentous homecoming. This June 16 to 19, join us in Montego Bay for the 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference. Jamaica extends a warm invitation to its global family for a gathering like no other to foster dialogue, development, and cultural immersion. This first in-person forum in 5 years offers a unique opportunity to explore innovative solutions for national development and to forge strategic alliances. We will address vital topics at the intersection of Jamaica's progress and the unique experiences of its global community. This conference is more than just a meeting. It's a melting pot of ideas and action. Born from an initiative in 1993, this gathering has evolved into a powerful movement that shapes Jamaica's policies and development strategies. From promoting investments to fostering heritage pride, the conference is a testament to Jamaica's proactive approach to engaging its diaspora. While at the conference, take advantage of fast-tracked government services exclusively for attendees. Plan and execute a Diaspora Day of Service activity in a community of your choice. Reconnect with our roots, network, explore business and development opportunities, and re-establish connections, all while savoring local cuisine. Our goal is action. We're not just talking, we're planning, executing, and growing together. Join us as we write the next chapter in Jamaica's story, one of unity, innovation, and collective growth. Register now at diasporaconferenceja.eventbrite.com. Don't miss out. Our early bird special of $160 for 3 days ends May 15. The 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference, united for Jamaica's transformation, fostering peace, productivity, and youth empowerment.
JN Money Card send from abroad. JN Money Card. Send the money. Mo want withdraw in a hurry. JN Money Card free. With your TRN and your ID. And when me no walk with cash, me just swipe like that. From abroad to CAD, get the JN Money Card. It's safe, convenient, and free. JN Money Card sent from abroad. JN Money Card.
It's time to come back. Back to feeling connected again. Back to curious. Back to adventurous. Back to being up for anything. Let's be lively again. Let's be laid back. It's time. Come back to the vibe.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we move to plenary session 4, Transforming Jamaica's Health System in Partnership with the Diaspora. The session aims to catalyze partnerships, knowledge sharing, and actionable recommendations that leverage diaspora expertise, resources, and networks to strengthen Jamaica's health system, improve access to quality care, and advance public health priorities in alignment with national goals and global standards. And so we welcome our panel, Dr. Gary Rule, MD, Sector Lead for Health and Wellness, who will moderate our distinguished panelists, who include Mr. Dunstan Bryan, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Ms. Claudette D. Powell, MA, BSN RN, Jamaica Nurses Group of New York, Dr. Robert Clark, Help Jamaica Medical Mission, Ms. Lorraine Smith, Autism Spectrum Disorder Expert, and Dr. Upton Allen, MD, Chief Infectious Disease, Toronto Sick Kids, Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, and those online, a round of applause for our panelists.
Thank you and welcome to the health panel. I am Dr. Gary Rule, and joined on stage, as Dahlia said, are distinguished panelists who are really experts. And I have a couple of comments before I start, and then I'll tell you about the format. So, health is the focus of really a lot of what we do. So this morning I was interested in both the business sector, the folks who talked about education, the folks who talked about investments, because if you don't concentrate on health, really everything else, in my opinion, will not go well. In health, we're purposeful. We're purposeful in terms of what we want everyone to do is to live their best life. We are very purposeful. We are intentional in any project, initiatives that we do, and we use data. I think Ms. Shauna before, who's a data analyst, we look at data to make sure that data drives what we do, the interventions, and how we bring people on board. The other comment I would have is, if you're thinking about, for example, Grace Burnett from Grace Kennedy talked about developing Drax Hall. I guess my plea to you is, or with Chef Patrick Simpson, who is doing health. Health is food. Food is health. If you're doing a housing development, think about health. Bring us to the table, because really, if you build 1,000 houses, people need access to health care. They need access to emergency care. They need access to a pharmacy. And I'll give you one example before I go to the pharmacist. Do not believe that just because you don't use a public health service that you're exempt, because I'll give you an example. If you are in an accident, hopefully you don't. In Jamaica, I worked in emergency medicine. Time is of the essence. We need to make sure that our emergency response, our ambulance service, can get you to the point of care that is going to give you that care and then transfer you to the place of your choice. So my plea is, don't ever think that whatever you're doing, whatever it is, education, IT, banking, investments, that it doesn't impact health, because it does. And why do I say that? For our children, for our families, for mothers, for pregnant mothers, for fathers, for everybody. You have to think about health, because the only way that we unite, transform, and grow as a nation is you have to at some point think, okay, health should be involved. We're not saying that you should do the work. The experts here can do the work. But just think, whatever I'm doing is health. Should health be at the table, and consult them to help you? Healthy foods, healthy environment, healthy water, etc. And before I introduce the panel, my other point is, in healthcare, we are purposeful, we're focused, we use data. On Wednesday, there is a health panel about the burn care facility. That's a priority focus area for us. I welcome you to join us on Wednesday from 1:50 to 2:30, where you have persons from UWI Hospital, Dr. Vengapal, Dr. R. Scott, Petrojam, or a corporate partner, the National Health Enhancement Foundation, the United Way. So these are public, private persons who are coming together because we recognize we need to access critical care services in the island in place for our people, for our children, for the future, and that's why we're doing this. Then I'll stop and then go to my panelists. Experts who have been doing this diaspora work for a long, long time. I won't repeat their names because you've heard them. My first question then goes to Mr. Bryan. Please share with the audience, again, healthcare, we're purposeful, it's data-driven, there is a strategic plan, we look at data, we look at information, and we're purposeful, we're intentional. Recently, Minister Tufton talked about the Health Strengthening Improvement Plan. Please comment to us what that is. And then when you answer that question, you feel free to expand for 3 minutes. But then help us to understand how the diaspora can be engaged. Can we be engaged? Either to support the plan, expand the plan, or do something else.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to the organizers, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, and also to you for hosting us on, well, the Ministry of Health and Wellness in this forum. Let me first acknowledge the fact that you're receiving the Consolation Prize and apologize for my minister who is not well. I'll leave it at that. But he sends his regards, and he holds this type of conference and this type of consultation in very high consideration, and he regrets that he's not able to attend. Now, to answer your question specifically, the Ministry of Health and Wellness in 2019 launched our Vision for Health 2030 plan. And that plan has 6 pillars that support the reform of the healthcare system, because when our healthcare system was first developed, it was very disease-centric. The responses that we have was to specific outbreaks of specific disease within country. And so even our primary healthcare system was founded on maternal and child health to reduce the impact of communicable diseases on the rates of mortality for our mothers and our children. Come in the 21st century, our health dynamic has changed completely. Communicable disease, while still very, very real and very present among the population as evident with COVID-19, we have now come up on a new dispensation, and that dispensation has to do with non-communicable disease. And with non-communicable disease, we have to reform, reformulate, and recalibrate how we see health and healthcare. And so we have to not look at the disease-centric focus, but we have to be patient-centric or person-centric in the delivery of healthcare services. And so the Vision for Health 2030 plan sought to recalibrate how we deliver health services in the country. And so in the new dispensation of how we are doing business, we're looking at a patient-centric approach to healthcare, where we look at the person from the womb to the tomb. And how do we provide healthcare within every life stage? And what type of services we provide within the different life stages of a person's sojourn on this earth. How do we do that? We have to look at service delivery and the different service delivery model. And we have to look at the service delivery model in the condition that we find ourselves in. And that condition represents two phases. One, Jamaica is going through demographic transition. What does that mean? We have low birth rates. Our birth rate now is approximately 1.7, 1.8 to every mother. We have persons living longer. And we have an exacerbation of that condition because we have high migration. And so our health scenario rests on the fact that because persons are living longer, the condition, non-communicable diseases represent a high portion of our mortality and mortality rates. And so the top 10 diseases that cause mortality in Jamaica are all NCDs, all of them. HIV in 2005 was number 7. HIV is number 13 at today's date. So NCDs represent a vast majority of how we deal with the type of conditions that we deal with in health. So we really have to recalibrate. And that recalibration is in 3 components: people, place, process. People, place, process. So people, we have to look at who, the staff. And a lot of times when we hear healthcare workers and staffing for healthcare workers, we think doctors and nurses. But there's a whole cadre of people that support health. And we need to look into the different component parts of healthcare service delivery to ensure that we strengthen every component part to deliver the type of service to the whole person at the prevention stage, and of course primary prevention, secondary prevention, and tertiary prevention, and then secondary care and tertiary care. So we talk about people, talk about process. We really have to bring the healthcare system in the 21st century. And so we have to look at all of the different processes that we do in health and ensure that we recalibrate that, bring technology to the table. Technology has formed such a very critical part of the health conversation right across the world. Different forms of technology, diagnostic technology, other types of technology. And of course, we talk now about the place, the infrastructure, the equipment, the buildings. The last time we built a hospital in this country was some 30 years ago. Now we're in a new dispensation where we are looking at our infrastructure, and most of our hospitals are at their end of their useful phase in terms of buildings, more than 50 years. And of course, the obvious example of Cornwall and what we had to deal with there. So we have to invest in the infrastructure. So we have to invest in the process. We have to invest in the people. And that encapsulates the entire program of reform that we're talking through.
Thank you so much for that. Okay, next we will go to Dr. Upton Allen, Chief of Infectious Disease at Toronto Sick Children Hospital. And I will start with my first question, and then you could share with the audience prior to concerns that you have for the next 3 minutes. And then just as a set of formatting, what we will actually do is have the panel speak, each of them for about 3 minutes. And we want to interact with you. We want to really hear your questions, your concerns. So after we're done speaking, then we'll open the mic, and you could please come to the mic, introduce yourself, and then ask your question. Dr. Allen. So my first question is, what are the key areas within Jamaica's healthcare system, that could most benefit from the expertise and resources of the Jamaican diaspora?
Gary, thank you so much. That's an amazing question. Let me just say in about 15, 20 seconds who I am. I'm from Portland. I always like to say that. I grew up in a place called Boston, which is where jerk pork comes from. So if you want to know about jerk pork, you can talk to me about that. I work at Sick Kids. I'm a professor at the University of Toronto, and I see a lot of familiar faces here. Gary, it's really important to focus on a number of specific areas, but I want to focus on 2 areas that I think are important. I'll illustrate the first one by giving you some numbers and engaging you. The first number is 2,000. The second number is 4,000, and the third number is 8,000. 2,000, 4,000, 8,000. And those numbers, one of them represents the number of individuals who die on the roads from road traffic accidents in Canada each year. So how many people think it's 8,000? Put your hands up. I'm a university professor, so I always like to ask questions. How many people think it's 4,000? And how many people think it's 2,000? So if you said 8,000, you got it right. Now, suppose I said to you that in Canada each year, just less than 2,000 individuals died from an illness, and that illness was related to infections in hospitals. What would you say? You'd say, that's crazy, that's terrible. 8,000 road traffic accidents, 2,000 hospital-acquired infections. You think that would be crazy, wouldn't you? That's crazy. But in fact, what I did, I kind of tricked you. The number of people dying on the roads in Canada each year is approximately 2,000. The number of people dying in hospitals from infections in Canada each year is 8,000. More people dying on the roads than dying in hospitals than on the roads. In Jamaica, PAHO data suggests that there are about 425 people dying on the roads last year from road traffic accidents. I leave you to figure out what you think the number of hospital-acquired infection deaths might be in Jamaica. Think in terms of the Canadian example, and you can figure out, perhaps what the Jamaican number might be. And as Miss Lou would say, when you think about the number, what a lala. It's a big deal. So that's one point I want to leave you with as this relates to hospital-acquired infections, because that's a big deal. And when you set up a burn unit, that's going to be a big issue. I really want to thank the Diaspora for continuing to contribute to hospitals, particularly your efforts to deal with hospital-acquired infections. And finally, just briefly, I just want to thank you for working with us on an initiative called the Sick Kids Caribbean Cancer and Serious Blood Disorder Initiatives, SCI, for which I was the co-chair. And that was a partnership between Sick Kids and several hospitals in the Caribbean, including the University Hospital West Indies and Bustamante, to improve the care of children with cancers and serious blood disorders. And the Diaspora was key in that regard. So infections and cancers, two important issues.
Thank you so much, Dr. Allen, for that response. Next, we'll go to Mrs. Claudette Powell, RN. This is someone who has worked very deeply with the Diaspora over, she can tell you, many years. She's in the USA Northeast. Again, you'll have 3 minutes. My first question to you is, can you describe to us what are some of the opportunities that both yourself and the nursing faculty has done past, present, and be future-facing as well? So what have they done? Why are you involved? And what are some of the other things you want to be doing?
Thank you, Dr. Brule. First, I want to say that the health sector is one of the most dedicated and one that contributes much to the public health system in Jamaica. We know that all health systems have their challenges, but as a member of the Diaspora, over 20 years I have been a volunteer in the Diaspora, been in the United States over 40 years, and persons keep saying, wow, but you're in Jamaica every day working. And that is what I'm imploring everyone. No matter how long you have left Jamaica, please come back and help. The other thing, this is my 9th conference. We're celebrating 10 years of the Diaspora Conference. This is my 9th conference. And the reason I'm giving all this timeline, when I was preparing for this presentation, I thought, let me go back to my notes. Let me look at some newspaper articles. So I did a chronological review, because I don't want it to be merely hearsay of what's going on in Jamaica with the health system. And over the years, I've identified some areas which I'll share with you. I know Mr. Dunstan mentioned infrastructure. So it's infrastructure, equipment and supplies, human resources, technology, education, and yes, non-communicable diseases came on right around 2021, that the minister started to mention that. Not to say that the Diaspora had not been addressing it, but it was more in the limelight at that time. And so I looked at articles from 2010 when the first fact-finding mission was held in Minnesota, and I was part of that team, up to a recent article where Minister Tufton spoke about the lifestyle-linked trauma cases such as gunshot wounds, bike accidents, and I'm surprised I did not see in the article road accidents, automobile accidents. And the reason I'm bringing that, the diaspora has to look at the challenges, also have to look at the strategic plan from the ministry to determine how we can help. In other words, you don't just stay home and say, I'm going to send an X-ray machine. I'm going there to this place to do a medical mission. And you don't know what the issues are. You don't know what the strategic plans are. So I must speak on behalf of the Northeast Diaspora, where I'm the chair. We have done that. So I'll share a little bit about what we have done, including the nurses group. And there are two mission groups that I'd like to highlight. Because when I looked at all these areas for improvement, the Jaja Foundation, Jamaicans at Home, Helping Jamaicans Abroad, basically did all this, I don't even think they knew that they were covering these areas. And one of them is, of course, they do annual missions, and I know Dr. Clark will be speaking about that, but they partnered, and one of the things is collaboration and partnership with the government, the private sector, Friends of Jamaica, with the diaspora. So they partnered with the American Friends of Jamaica, Jacobi Medical Center in the Bronx, to get handheld ultrasounds. Now, if you know ultrasound machines, generally you're sent someplace and it's a big stationary machine. This thing is the size of my hand. So, just imagine, it's more efficient and I would say effective in the sense that the physicians can do a diagnosis within a short time. You can meet someone on the road in an accident, and if you have a handheld ultrasound, you know what's going on. So just to share the diaspora, so 30 hospital accident and emergency rooms got one of those ultrasounds, and also maternal child health. Beyond that, since those machines were donated, Dr. Trevor Dixon has a bi-weekly conference with the physicians here in Jamaica. So they review some of these cases that have been seen using the ultrasound machine. That's every 2 weeks. And monthly, there is a review with the maternal child health. Another thing that this group and other diasporans have noticed, we are concerned about the minimal response to emergencies, such as things that really need, it's quite time sensitive, a heart attack, a stroke, and you're on the road in an accident, and it's the local citizen who has to throw you in a car. Now, if you're in the medical field, most of the time, I guess you'll be all right, but that's not the best way. We want a vehicle that if you have a spinal injury, you don't do more injury on your way to the hospital. And I shared what happened recently. It's always best to talk about what you have seen personally, because we hear a lot of things people call us about what's going on in Jamaica. But I was on the Jaja medical mission in January. We were working in Trelawney on our way to Negril to rest for the night, stop for dinner, and what's the likelihood of being first responders to 2 road accidents 45 minutes apart? And the reason why I'm sharing this, we were not the witnesses. We did not see those accidents. But I'm very uncomfortable that when we got there, there was an ambulance. There wasn't an ambulance, no trained personnel to rescue those persons. They were fortunate because we had 2 buses on the scene, and several of us are in the health field. We had lots of trauma physicians aboard. We had a lot of nurses, and we were able, although we did not have an ambulance, we knew how to transfer those victims into someone. We converted the back seat to make it flat to put those victims. Again, the diaspora responded. And beyond that, the same organization, Jaja Foundation, has started an emergency medical training here in Negril. So we have persons who are being trained to respond to emergencies. With that, you need an ambulance. So Jaja Foundation purchased an ambulance, which arrived in Jamaica, and that ambulance will be used as a part of the training, and yes, it will benefit the entire island. Thank you. Another thing that they have been doing, they have a clinic, a dental, that area, I know Mr. Dunstan will know, is very needed in Jamaica, and all the mission groups, most mission groups bring dentists. But Georgia has a clinic in Negril, a dental clinic, and one for women's health. I'll move on to one other group. And the reason, as I go along, just think about all these areas for improvement, how we have captured them, and we have responded. So we don't just stay home and blame the ministry. We don't blame the government. We try to see how we can work to help. It might seem like a drop in the bucket, but every bit helps. The other one is the Organization for International Development, Dr. Roy Street, located in the Bronx. The one I spoke about first is located in New Jersey. Dr. Roy Street has been coming to Jamaica for a number of years. Again, the partnership, they have partnered with the University Health Hospital, West End Hospital, a group of cardiothoracic surgeons at the Montefiore Hospital in the Bronx. And since 2020, they have done 50 open heart surgeries here in Jamaica, free of charge. Now they're getting ready to bring a mammography van because they have identified, for the underserved, there are women, they're going to service the urban, rural areas, and especially some areas in Kingston. They don't have the insurance, they don't have the money to pay for mammogram. So Jaja has taken on that task, and I'm hoping that others of you sitting there, maybe you're already doing it. I can only speak about those I know, will do something similar. They also have a van, but locally, a mobile medical van. So they go around to see the people, and they also do the dental work. What have the nurses been doing? I'm a member of the Jamaica Nurses Group. Oh, one other thing. There's an Ulster Spring Health Center, showing collaboration again. That is in Trelawney. That health center has been down for a number of years, and the persons complained that they had to drive to Falmouth, so persons will die on their way. Again, another person in the diaspora I approached, told the situation, came up, met the Minister of Health at the time, partnered with them. Minister of Health gave money. The health center was refurbished, opened, and not only that, there's a group in New Jersey, Jamaican Organization of New Jersey, has now adopted that clinic.
Thank you so much. We're going to come back.
All right. Okay, thank you. Hope I can share more later.
We have more time. We're going to come back to Mrs. Bell. It's a lot of information. One comment. So a friend of mine I asked a question. How do you eat an elephant? What's the answer? My answer was one bite at a time, and he said, no, the community eats the elephant. The community eats the elephant. What does that mean? We have to communicate, we have to collaborate, and we can actually eat the entire elephant in one sitting. That really is what healthcare is about. It's complex, it's deep. Every single intervention that you make, you have to think, if I do this, is there a current consequence and or is there a long-term consequence? So just to orient your mind to how do you eat an elephant? The community eats the elephant. Every single person has a role to play. The government, the private sector, individuals, the person in the street. If you're talking about health, if every time you put something in your mouth, food is health. The water that you drink is health. The environment is health. If you choose to smoke or drink, that's health. The kids, it's health. We have to think about this, everything that we do. I'm in healthcare, that's why I'm probably biased. Just think, everything that we do really has an impact for health. If we are going to be competitive in business, investment as a nation, to go in the future, this is how we have to reorient our mind. Our children need to be healthy. Mothers need to be healthy. I'm going to pivot to Dr. Robert Clark. Again, this man has been doing, not to get spiritual, right? He's really been doing God's work in Jamaica and the Caribbean and really in New York, New Jersey. He has done multiple missions. I'm not saying he's done it by himself because there's a team. He has done many medical missions. He'll talk more about that. My one question to you to start with your 3 minutes is, I think you have a unique perspective because you've done medical missions in Jamaica and you've also provided primary care in Jamaica. just comment to us about your perspective. What do you see in terms of admissions, primary care? Do you have some recommendations for us moving forward, building Jamaica? Not everything, because I know you know a lot, just your initial thoughts.
Okay. Can anybody hear me? Very good. So as Dr. Rule says, my name is Dr. Robert Clark. I'm the president of Help Jamaica Medical Mission. We've been doing missions in Jamaica for umpteen years, many, many years. And the precept for that is that each one has to help one, right? Basically, we're a community, and we do one community at a time. Okay, Jamaica has a population of about 3 million people, and to be honest, it's only about 80 hospitals, I think, that services these 3 million people. It's about 80 hospitals, right? 80? 80?
No.
Right. Not so much? Okay, so it's not even so much, right? Google says 35, and it also says 80. So I'm not sure which of those numbers are correct. The important point, however, is that the health system is top-heavy, okay? There's not enough physicians or services to really and adequately serve everybody in Jamaica. So as a result, there have been about 200 to 300 missions coming to Jamaica on a yearly basis. That is also a drop in the bucket. I can speak about my mission. Whenever we come for about 8 days, and we go all over Jamaica. We principally go to those underserved areas that are hard to reach. In other words, we choose the areas uniquely. We target the populations that are extremely poor, have less resources, and less amenities and transportation to actually come out of your community to see doctors. So we specifically go to those areas, and it is amazing the amount of diseases that you see that has been going untreated for years. In other words, let's say a person has hypertension or high blood pressure. That is a disease that constantly beats the heart. So you can be walking around with a high blood pressure for years and not know that you have it until you either have a stroke or a heart attack. So when you go to these areas, the amount of people that you see walking around with these diseases and is unaware that they have it, it is really food for thought. It is really amazing. So what we do, again, we go to these areas, we find these people with all these non-communicable diseases, and we treat them. We bring medications to last them for at least a year. We go to one area twice. In other words, if we visit your area this year, we will come back the next year for follow-up. Because let's face it, we tell them to go as follow-up to their local doctors and local clinics. But our safety net is coming back the following year to ensure that they've been doing their follow-ups and that the medication has been working and all of that. But our main thing is to tell them to follow up. And of course, with statistics, most of them do not. And so, as I've been trying to appeal to other members of my diaspora who are physicians, nurse practitioners, or anybody in the healthcare, to come down to assist with medical missions, because believe me, it helps, it works, and it saves lives. Okay? And I have my colleague here, that's Dr. Rosemary Lewis. I want to yield at least 1 minute to her so she can discuss some of the work that we do here. Dr. Lewis, can you just come quickly? Just 1 minute, of my time, I'll give to her, and then we'll.
Dr. Lewis, you have 30 seconds. Before we revert to panel.
Everyone. Since the post-COVID, we realized that many people are affected with mental health challenges. Within our culture, that is one area in medicine that was not talked about because we were taught to hide it under the bush. So with everything that is happening now, we have had more resources and we are seeking more intervention. And in the United States, the government has allocated funds towards this area. So we in the diaspora, especially the United States, we are trying to garner help to see if we could follow their model, see what they do, and then take it to Jamaica. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lewis. That's an excellent segue to our next speaker, because what we will not do is actually sit here and talk to you. We want to hear your questions, your comments. We want to interact with you. It's a great segue to mental health. Thank you, Dr. Lewis. Perfect. Miss Lorraine Smith is an autism spectrum disorder expert. Again, deep knowledge, global expert, knows mental health. I'll stop talking. My first question I always say, even though I do emergency medicine, is, honey, what is autism? I'll ask you that question. What is autism? You have 3 minutes. Tell us the essential things that you want us to know about autism. Touch on whatever you want to touch on. We will stop. We'll go to the audience, and hopefully, I have like 100 questions here. Hopefully, then the audience will ask something that I have for them. If not, that's okay. Let's hear from Ms. Smith.
Thank you, Dr. Rule. And just a few points. I am more than an autism specialist. I have a total of over 30 years in social services and mental health, working with all types of disabilities across all types of disability and mental health. I am a state contractor in the state of New Jersey. I now reside in Georgia as well. And I also work and live here in Jamaica. And I did that for a primary reason, because as we're speaking here, I'm amongst the doctors and the nurses, and that's what I do every day. Because we can no longer work separately from medical and mental health. As I normally say it, we must be married. Medical and mental health must become partners. We must live together and reign together for the sake of the parent. And I start with the parent, because those are the individuals I see in my counseling sessions who don't understand, why is my child going through this situation? The parent who, because they have a child with a disability, their marriage is no longer there. The parent who can no longer go to work. So I start with the parent. But we must work together as professionals for the sake of the child as well, who will become an adult, the community, the providers, everyone, and those of you who are sitting there. So I will back up a little bit to say I'm also a trauma professional. I am an adjunct lecturer here in Jamaica, and I'm also a practicum coordinator, which means I teach here. One of my greatest things is to teach the next generation of counseling psychologists, students here in Jamaica, how to be multicultural counselors. So we here in the audience, as some of us want to come home. And when we do come home, we're going to want someone to talk to. And so they will need to understand, how do we take care of our children? How would we take care of our elders? As you know, my colleagues as stated, from the womb to the tomb. And so I have one of my students who's sitting in the audience who is a fireman. And so I work tediously here in Jamaica just to make sure that the services we have back in the U.S. and other countries can become a part of what we do here in Jamaica. So, what is autism? Let's get to the meat and bone of why I'm here. Autism is very near and dear to my heart. And it's near and dear to my heart because my granddaughter, who will turn 6 in another few days, has autism and cerebral palsy. Autism is a neurological and a developmental disorder that affects the communication, the interaction, and the behavior of the child. And now the child turns in an adult, autism is still there. A lot of times we see the child in the supermarket and we see the hands are flapping, the noise they're making because the child is not able to speak. Yes, that is autism. A lot of times we see a child in the classroom, if there's some teachers sitting here, and that child cannot pay attention. It's a boy or a girl, especially a boy, because boys are more diagnosed with autism than girls. Boys have more of an aggressive nature than girls do. And so what we're finding is that teachers may not know what they're looking at in their classroom, and so the boys are kicked out of their classroom. So I'll reverse a little bit, because autism needs to be diagnosed by at least 2 years old for the sake of the child, so that those services can be started, what we call early intervention. So as part of the Diaspora, this is one of my recommendations, because I'm not only going to point out the things that maybe are not being done or, what's missing, but recommendations that as a part of the Diaspora and ways that I myself can help as an expert, as a professional, is that early intervention becomes part of our system of care. Because that child and that parent needs that support, immediate support, the minute the child comes out the womb. The parent is going to take the child home. That child will not meet the milestone development. So our doctors that are here, pediatricians, clinicians, are a part of that child's treatment plan. So we move from the milestone development from the 6 months to the 12 months to the 24 months. And we're looking at the school. Our teachers need to be trained and certified. Special education is a sector of education, but apart from special education, you now go beyond that to be certified and to understand how to work with someone with autism. Apart from that, you have other services. And I'm here to kind of talk more about that as I see my time has wrapped up.
Thank you so much, Ms. Smith. So first and foremost, we're here for 3 days, right? The bench strength, the knowledge that these folks have, it's so deep, it's so broad, we can't tell you everything that we want to share with you. What we're going to do, I'm going to stop and open. We have 9 minutes left. We'll take questions from the audience. Please use your right and your left mic. And I ask one thing. Again, I told you, in health, we are purposeful. We're intentional. We're specific. When you go to the mic, please frame your comment into a question for either the general panel or one person in particular. In health, we are intentional. We need to be done at 5:40. We have 8 minutes. Who do we have at the mic?
All right, so we have, just to remind delegates, you have 2 microphones, so you can choose which one you want to stand behind. Mr. Moderator, we can start on your right hand.
The first young woman, please identify yourself and ask your question, please.
Yes, my name is Sharon Barrett. I'm what you call a contractor. I work with New York State as an autism. I work as they call them ABA therapists. That's my job. And they have speech therapists, like she was trying to say. There are many people that work with autism in the service. And my question, I've been doing this from 1991. I'm a special educator who retired from the New York City public school system, but now I'm a contractor for New York State at my own business. Quick question. When I was growing up in Kingston, I grew up in Kingston, in Raleigh Town, Franklin Town area. I never saw any services for the children with autism or Down syndrome or any other services. So my question, what are some services that we can give back as a diaspora community? What can we do?
I'm going to assume that that's my question.
I think it's your question. Go ahead.
All right, so thank you very much for that question, and it is important that we see government as a whole and not its component parts. So a lot of the work that we do with early stimulation, which is where your argument is going, is done in the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. There is a plethora of interventions with, I think, about 4 centers for early stimulation across the island. We have Kingston and Senator, Portland, and St. James, and another parish, I can't remember exactly where. However, the Ministry of Education also has a program for early identification of learning challenges, and that is, and a lot of persons would know about the MICO Center, where they do assessments for learning disabilities, including autism and also other forms of impediments to learning. So the government has a plethora of programs. How can you help? What we need is, of course, in all of our areas of specialization is human resources. Because as you know, because we live so close to the metropoles, and they are going through their own demographic transition, the pull factor is we can't compete with the salary that a specialist like you would gain in America. So the pull factor and the labor market causes you to pull. What we ask is for missions. Now, missions are so critical to the work that we do in health. Last year alone, missions contributed approximately $8.5 million to health service delivery, as we calculated in turn. And so we have had over 200 missions last year alone. Now, pulling yourself together into teams and modeling the health mission into these types of missions that do assessments is very important, because the wait time for an assessment in education now, I think it's about 18 months. So just think of a mother or a family waiting on an assessment to determine what is wrong with my child, you know? And it's not a clinical assessment, but more a psychological assessment that would be done by you and your team. So pulling yourself in missions, working with the Ministry of Education or the Ministry of Labor and Social Security to say, okay, we can take a cohort of children, run your
evaluation program.
Your evaluations, and come up with some diagnosis for some of these families, helping them.
What about training? She mentioned when she spoke about autism, about training. They have to train and get like a license.
I think that could be a very, very powerful part of the mission. Come one summer when the teachers are on summer break, offer a training program in dealing with children in autism. Those are powerful ways to intervene.
Thank you, Mr. Bright. So we have 4 minutes left. My response to you is, don't do it so it's fragmented. The reason that we're saying mind, body, soul, don't go, again, suggestion, work with the Ministry of Health. Work through the National Health Enhancement Foundation. I am on the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council as the health representative. Don't go off and do your work so the work is all fragmented. We need to eat the elephant together. That's what we need to do. And I'm speaking passionately because that's really what I believe. The young lady in brown, please ask your question. We have 4 minutes left.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Charlene Taylor. I'm from England. I'm a nurse in the UK. My question to the ministry is, would you be happy to help people in Jamaica who have got chronic conditions look at nutritional ways of reducing and managing their conditions, especially for those who can't afford medications and doctors?
We heard the question. I think the question is, how does the ministry, could they look at nutrition, et cetera, in terms of improving health? Let's do the following. Let's hear the questions first, then we'll answer all of them at once. Let's just hear what the other question is from the doc at the mic.
Dr. Willis from New Jersey, past president of Help Jamaica Medical Mission. Help Jamaica Medical Mission is health care for every living person in Jamaica. For every living person in Jamaica. Now, we come to Jamaica and treat the poor, because the poor in Jamaica cannot afford medical care. There is no system here to treat the poor in Jamaica. So we come and help the poor as much as we can, but it is not enough. The 100 of medical mission that comes to Jamaica, it's not enough to help the poor. In America, we have Medicaid, and Medicaid is a program that treats the poor. If a Medicaid patient comes to my office and a commercial patient comes to the office, they both get the same treatment. So we need a program here in Jamaica to treat the poor. So this morning somebody mentioned a program where we can donate funds to help the poor. So Help Jamaica Medical Mission, Dr. Clark, we are going to get together and form what is like an insurance company and ask the member of the diaspora to donate $5, $10, or $15 to this insurance company that we can use to treat the poor in Jamaica.
Sir. We hear it.
I hear it. But there is one thing that I'm saying. One more thing. Because what I heard the other day that disturbed me a lot is that a gentleman went to the hospital for medical care, and he was given a prescription to go to the hospital. I know that. To the hospital to buy medication. And on his way back, he died.
I got it. So
that disturbed me a lot. So we have to do something to help the poor. The poor. And one more thing. Why is this medical mission is so late in the afternoon when there is no audience?
We thank you for your questions, your comments, everything.
Thank you.
We're done. We're done. What I would say finally is the work that the health persons do, we should not be fragmented. We should not, moving forward, if our kids are going to be really healthy, can compete, can be in a classroom where they're not having dental pain, they're not sick, our mothers need to be healthy, right? We need to do that. Our time is up. I know that there are two persons at the very end. Please find us after. We'll answer your questions, but I'll go back to what I said before. We cannot move forward and be competitive if we are, one hand is doing one thing and the other one is doing another thing. One hand can't clap. Ministry of Health, the National Health Foundation. I'm on the health sector. Claudette Powell, you heard about Ms. Smith. Dr. Dunstan. Mr. Dunstan, I'm sorry. Dr. Allen. Dr. Clark. We are here. Connect with us. We're not telling you what to do. But just think about, if I'm going to do something for health, it probably impacts everything else. Just ask us, can we do something else? Before you build a hotel, call us and say, we're not telling you how to build a hotel, how to finance it, but if you're building it, think about, is there a health impact for tourism, for the tourists, as well as the people who live here? That's my pitch to you. Thank you for coming. We appreciate your time, and I'm sorry that we don't have more time to share with you.
Can we hear it once again for our panel? Thank you so much. A very spirited discussion, but you heard it, engaging healthcare professionals, policymakers, diaspora representatives, and community advocates is critical. And what we need are innovative approaches, technology integration, and capacity building initiatives to address healthcare challenges and to promote wellness for all Jamaicans. Once we are finished with this photo, I'm going to ask the PS to remain on stage for a special presentation. And just to remind you that this evening, our platinum sponsors, VM, have a special entertainment event. It's going to be a remount of the satirical review Pitchy Patchy. And the play features some of Jamaica's most popular social media influencers, such as Wayne Marshall, Dana Royal, Dee Burns, Keticia T.C. Chapman, Tananya Tracy, and Dr. Sanita Myrie. So we have some great entertainment lined up for you to close off day one. So we want to thank our panelists, and we ask our permanent secretary to remain on stage as we head into a handover ceremony of the atmospheric water generator to the Ministry of Health by the Jarrett Foundation. So I invite Dr. Pearl Jarrett from the Jarrett Foundation, UK, to hand over to Mr. Dunstan Bryan, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Health, this atmospheric water generator. And this presentation is to the Ministry of Health. So we're going to get a microphone for Dr. Jarrett. The members on stage with her are members of the Jarrett Foundation.
Where's the profile?
Yes.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I won't keep you. This is going to be very brief. My name is Dr. Pearl Jarrett, and I'm the CEO of the Jarrett Foundation. We have been in Jamaica now since the 2012. We came when it was Jamaica's 50th anniversary, and we wanted to do something. Prior to that, we were in Africa, and we came and we said, how can we help? When we said that, and we were asking the Ministry of Education at the time, and they said furniture. We didn't know anything about furniture. We didn't know where to get it, how to ship it, anything. But we learned on the job, and we eventually shipped 8 40-foot containers worth of furniture that kitted out 136 schools in Jamaica. Yes, we did. And that was to the value of 50 million Jamaican dollars. Fast forward, we came to the pandemic, and we said, again, how can we help? And we was told masks. So we went and we located some masks, and we shipped 2 million face masks to Jamaica to the value of $130 million. So we've been doing this on and on and on. And then during the pandemic, we said, again, how can we help? We were told oxygen was something that the hospitals really needed. So we went on a fundraising drive with the support of Mr. Cephas. Mr. Courtney Cephas is somewhere in the building. Oh, there you are, Mr. Cephas, our right hand. And the Minister, Camilla Johnson-Smith, did videos for us. Minister Tufton did videos for us. And we collected money for oxygen. After a while, the pandemic passed, and then oxygen wasn't the issue anymore, but we still had the money. And I said, Mr. Cephas, what can we do with this money? Because it's burning a hole in my pocket, and I do not want to be one of these charities that collect money, and then when people ask, what did you do with the money, there's no explanation. So I said, what can we do? And he said, water. And I thought, okay. I knew, again, people ask me to do things I know nothing about. So I thought, okay, I don't know anything about water, I'll just learn on the job. So what happened is, while everybody else was binge watching Netflix and movies and stuff over the pandemic, I was researching water. And then I came across this thing because I had an epiphany one day. And I remember that in our old house, we used to have mold going down the wall. And what we did is we got a dehumidifier. And what it did, it pulled water out of the air, and it stopped the mold, and we would throw the water away in the morning. So then I thought to myself, well, that technology already exists. What if we could find it and reapply it? So we found it, and I did some research, and I found it, and it's called an AWG, an atmospheric water generator. So then I contacted them and got the rights for Jamaica, actually the rights for the Caribbean. Did you know there is just as much water in the air as there is in the sea? Jamaica is very, very humid. So we have a machine that we use the money for, and it's just behind you. Can I just ask you to step aside just a moment. And this is the atmospheric water generator. And it's a 30... Oops. No. It has... Oh, it has brakes. It has brakes on it. So this is a 30-litre. So which means every day it will pull 30 litres of water out of the air. And then you can use it, and you come back the next day, and it will pull another 30 litres of water out of the air. There is no plumbing needed, no pipes needed, no anything. So we knew that, because I come to Jamaica often, I understand the constraints of electricity and all of that. So this is the plug-in version, but we've also put solar to go with it, and a solar battery. And with the 3 elements, it can produce water anywhere, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we've had this tested. We've had this tested by the Bureau of Standards, and we've also had it tested by ESL. And the tests have come back and said it is WHO standard. It is World Health Authority standards. It has filters in there. So with the filters, it's drinking water. If you take the filters out, you can use it for anything. It becomes potable water. So you can use it for your chickens. People say to me, but I've got chickens and I have to truck water. Could I use it for that? I'm like, yes. I have to truck water for my cattle. Can I use it for that? Yes. So what I made sure I had it in different sizes. So depending on what you need it for, we can help. So this one, as I said, is 30 litres, but it goes all the way up to 10,000 litres a day. 10,000 litres a day. So this one, sir, we would really like to donate to the Ministry of Health. Thank you again, Mr. Cephas, for all that you have done to get us this far. I want to thank Ambassador Ramakan for everything you do. When I don't know what to do, I call him Ambassador, and he helps me to make good decisions. And my husband, who makes all my decisions work. When I come up with big picture, he says, okay, this is what we need to do first. And obviously my partner in crime as well, Mr. Luvin Scarlett. Thank you, everybody, because we are very, very proud to hand this over to you today. Please make sure it gets a good home where water can be used and where water is needed, and it can be used regularly. And it would be wonderful for us to just continue to supply Jamaica with water, small or large, it doesn't matter. We're here to serve.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jarrett from the Jarrett Foundation UK. And there you have it, the official handover to Mr. Dunstan Bryan, Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Health, of the atmospheric water generator to the Ministry of Health. JDC 10 promised this to be an amazing milestone event for Jamaica and Jamaicans at home and abroad. The success of the conference relies chiefly on the sustained commitment of our legacy partners, Grace Kennedy Group, the VM Group, and the JN Group. Our platinum partners, Continental National Bakery, Digicel, Island Car Rental, Jamaica Tourist Board, our gold sponsor, Pinnacle Developments, our bronze sponsor, JMMB, our official media partner, RJR Gleaner Group, our Diaspora Investment Facilitation Partners, JAMPRO, Jamaica Stock Exchange, and Jamaica Business Development Corporation, our venue partner, the Montego Bay Convention Center, accommodation partners, Iberia Star and H10 Hotels, Ocean Eden Bay and Ocean Coral View, and our conference endorsement partner, the Jamaica Umbrella Group of Churches. To all JDC 10 sponsors, could you put your hands together for me as we say a big thank you. And now we call upon Dr. Kevin Brown, President of the University of Technology and Chair of the Program and Content Subcommittee, to give us the daily JDC Brew. That is a summary of the day's proceedings and his musings on the highlights. Let's hear it for Dr. Kevin Brown.
Good afternoon, everyone. Well, first of all, let me say congratulations to everyone who has made it through the day. Well done. When we were planning the conference, we wanted to ensure that we created a program that covered all the important topics that matter not only to the diaspora but to Jamaicans on the island. Now, I know that I'm standing between you and some entertainment that will be happening this evening. So we're not finished with you yet, but no more plenary sessions. It's going to be entertainment, music, and some fun. But before we go, I just wanted to remind you of what we've been discussing today, because every conference must produce tangible outcomes, right? We're not just here to have good conversation. We want to take away key recommendations and points that we can work towards achieving. So the day started with a very brief opening session with Mr. Courtney Campbell, chair of the conference and president and chief executive of the Victoria Mutual Group, or VM Group, welcoming you to conference, along with Honorable Orlando Terrelong, Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. We then moved swiftly into plenary session 1, which looked at Jamaica Open for Business, transforming investment and enterprise in Jamaica through diaspora engagement. Jamaica is open to business, and we heard from Senator the Honorable Albin Hill, Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, who spoke about the advantages of doing business in Jamaica. Why should you do business in Jamaica? Well, according to Senator Albin Hill, we have good infrastructure. We have good overseas endorsements. We have successfully managed our inflation. We have many investment opportunities. It's a very diverse landscape out there, especially for those young diasporans. And there are many gaps that exist in the market. If you listen to panelists Winthorpe, Wellington, or Throp, who is from the diaspora, came back to Jamaica 18 years ago, is the owner of Travelers Resort in Negril. He's also a YouTuber, and he spoke about the many gaps in the market. So for those of you who are overseas in saturated markets, Jamaica still has opportunities for you. So that was the first plenary session. And I hope that many of you now feel inspired to find your investment opportunity in Jamaica. The next plenary session dealt with the role of Jamaican missions and diaspora communities, organizations in supporting and sustaining Jamaicans overseas. I know sometimes we take for granted the overseas missions and high commissions. We think that they only exist to ensure that we can renew our passports and sometimes resolve our issues, especially around immigration. But as Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith outlined, these overseas missions actually aren't responsible for passports. That's the Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency. They are responsible more so for your interests and ensuring that as a Jamaican, your rights are protected. So we got a masterclass from Minister Kamina Johnson on what exactly is the aims and objectives of these many overseas missions. And she was joined by other high commissioners and consular generals. We then went into lunch, and lunch was not just any ordinary lunch. We had Blue Maho Holdings, along with the Jamaica Stock Exchange, speaking about how you can invest in Jamaica again, a very strong theme for today's conference, where we heard about the capital markets. And many of you in the diaspora already own shares. How many of you own shares in Grace? We all buy Grace in New York, in London, but how many of you actually own shares in these companies? You can own shares in NCB. You can own shares in many of these iconic Jamaican companies. Why don't just be a consumer, you can also own these companies as well. And the Jamaica Stock Exchange remains very vibrant. In the afternoon, we had a very brief Riverside chat with President of the Borough of Manhattan Community College, Dr. Anthony Monroe. And then we met our brand new Police Commissioner, Dr. Kevin Blake. How many of you knew that we have a new Commissioner of Police? You all knew? I met someone who was surprised to hear the news. So I think it was worthwhile having the new commissioner here for you to learn about him, how he rose to the ranks and got to be the new commissioner, and his vision and mission for the Jamaica Constabulary Force. He spoke about transformation, how he's transforming people, the people in the force, the quality of the force, and the technology. And if you listen carefully, he's a computer programmer, he's a software guy, and he's a police officer. That's Jamaican talent right there, right? So we should be proud. We should be proud of our new police commissioner, who is also into the ICT. We then had a panel sponsored by the Ministry of National Security under their Live Good campaign, looking at how do we achieve lasting peace and security in Jamaica. And one of Jamaica's favorite police officers was on the panel. Do you know who that is? Mr. Fitz Bailey, who sadly has announced that he's retiring from the force. A renowned crime fighter in Jamaica was on the panel. And I would say that for some of us, this is perhaps the last time we will see him in his role as Deputy Commissioner of Police. So count yourself lucky for being at conference today to hear his wise words of wisdom. What did we learn about Jamaica? We learned that Jamaica is safer than we think in terms of what we hear in the news and how we perceive our country. A gentleman stood up and said he leaves his door open in Vineyard Town. Whether you believe him or not, that's what he claimed. And his point is that to him, Jamaica is a lot safer than we perceive. The police officers, the crime fighters noted today that crime is trending down, that more gangsters are behind bars. And what they have said is that they want to engage with the diaspora. The police commissioner said what the diaspora can do for the police force is to continue to support the many communities that they work in, continue to support their social development and creating opportunities for these peoples in disadvantaged communities. That's what the police commissioner is asking you to do. And yes, for those of you who are policing experts overseas, they also want to hear from you. But as you heard from Kevin Jr., who is the sector lead for peace and security in the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council, it's not about the diaspora coming to Jamaica to dictate how we should police. It's for the diaspora to come and to learn what are the priorities for Jamaica and to see how you can contribute and join in the process. So it's about partnership, right? It's about partnership. We then moved on to the concurrent sessions, and I hope you all enjoyed your concurrent sessions because I won't be talking much about them because I'm focusing on the plenary sessions. And so when we came back from the concurrent sessions, we ended the day with transforming Jamaica's health system in partnership with the diaspora. This session was a very poignant session. We learned that non-communicable diseases are an existential threat to Jamaica. What do I mean by that? Our biggest threat, some of you think it's car accidents, some of you think it's crime, it's diabetes, it's heart disease, all of these non-communicable diseases. How many of you have relatives where because of diabetes, you have relatives who've gone blind, lost a limb? We call it sugar. So we have to look at our lifestyle. That was the message coming from our permanent secretary, Dunstan Bryan.
We also heard from other members of the panel, Ms. Claudette Powell, about how diaspora groups have been giving back to Jamaica over the years. Many diaspora groups have been giving back through donations to the health system, through medical missions. We had over 200 medical missions from the diaspora, supporting many communities across the country. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope today's program and today's conference has been a fulfilling experience for you. We have covered a lot of ground, but I hope that you have seen that in partnership, the diaspora, the government, the private sector, the public sector, the NGOs, in partnership, all of us together, we can do what? We can eat the elephant. Right? How do you eat an elephant? All of us together, right? And that's how we're going to make Jamaica better. All of us coming together. So I hope you've enjoyed day one of the conference. Tomorrow we go again, 8:45, with the launch of the Eat Jamaica Day initiative across the diaspora, and many more salient topics to cover. So remember, we're not done with it yet. After we have some entertainment and a bit of fun for you afterwards. But I want to thank you all for your attention today, and see you bright and early tomorrow morning.
Calling all Jamaicans across
Thank you
the
very
globe.
much, Dr. Brown. Well, you heard it. Tomorrow, day 2, we have so many things. Well, this brings us to the close of day 2, actually. Tomorrow we have more under our theme, United for Jamaica's Transformation, Fostering Peace, Productivity, and Youth Empowerment. You heard it, the official launch of the Eat Jamaican Day under the auspices of the Ministry of Agriculture. We're going to host the Prime Minister of Jamaica, who will deliver the keynote address. There'll be more plenary sessions, breakout sessions, and a Riverside chat. If you missed the opportunity to benefit from having the government at your service and you wish to fast-track requests for your birth certificate, your TRN, your passport, you can get this and many other services done by the 11 participating government agencies. There's going to be a lot of excitement happening in the marketplace, delicious Jamaican fare, and prospective partnerships with like-minded diaspora entrepreneurs. Mabay, JDC 10 transformation, we say. Until tomorrow, I'm Delia Harris. Walk good.
All Jamaicans across the globe. This June 17 to 19, we're bringing the vibes of the 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference to you straight from Montego Bay. Join us live for Riverside Wrap-Up or post-conference show packed with highlights, inspiring stories, and a whole lot of fun. Don't miss out on the excitement. Catch the vibes, join the conversation, and reconnect with your roots. Visit www.mfaft.gov.jm to learn more. Riverside Wrap-Up, June 17 to 19 in Montego Bay. See you there.
So far, being here at the Diaspora Conference, I feel like I have a cup that's being filled. This is almost like a recharge station where Jamaicans and us in the diaspora can really just connect. We can share our stories, we can talk about our own personal narratives, and see how we can continue to join forces to be able to push forward. And that's one of the main reasons why I came here, to be here for the next couple of days, just to really soak everything in and see how I can use my platform to be of help, to be of assistance, to be of promotion to the country that I love so much, my home, Jamaica.
My name's Judith Slater and I'm the British High Commissioner to Jamaica. My experience so far at the Diaspora Conference has been absolutely fantastic. There's a big delegation from the UK who are here to see what they can do, both to explore business opportunities here in Jamaica, but also to give back to the Jamaican community, which is extremely inspiring and uplifting. And I'm really enjoying connecting with everybody over the next couple of days.
My experience so far is very good. A lot of information, a lot of knowledge. Just here trying to give back to the diaspora community and bring awareness and understanding to the diaspora.
Great. My experience has been fantastic. I've seen some old friends, made some new friends, and definitely lots of business content and information. So time well spent.
I'm excited to be here in Montego Bay for this Diaspora conference. I'm looking forward to seeing the network build Jamaica. Yeah, for those who are abroad, who haven't been back to Jamaica, link with Jamaicans and understand that it is a safe enough place. We have a lot of opportunities, and together we can make Jamaica great. I am personally excited about the social investment that the diasporians will invest in to really build our youth and to build our economy. So let's see what happens. It's going to be a great day, and I'm also happy to host the third day to help to put everything together, the closing ceremony.
Yeah, hi, I'm Roxanne Schmeichel, and I'm excited about exploring various investment opportunities within Jamaica. So I'm looking forward to that.
What's going on, everyone? Throp here, and it is not too late to register for the Jamaican Diaspora Conference. The networking already here has been spectacular. The panel I was on, I'm sorry you missed it, was amazing as well. But it's very, very important, I always say, to come to international conferences like this, even if you're remotely interested in investing or moving here. To me, this is one of the best ways you can just dip your toe in the water of starting out your own personal journey of accomplishing whatever goal that you have. It's not too late. Still a lot of great information and great panels ahead. Prime Minister is coming tomorrow. You don't want to miss that either.
So far, being here at the Diaspora conference, I feel like I have a cup that's being filled. This is almost like a recharge station where Jamaicans and us in the diaspora can really just connect. We can share our stories, we can talk about our personal narratives, and see how we can continue to join forces to be able to push forward. And that's one of the main reasons why I came here, to be here for the next couple days, just to really soak everything in and see how I can use my platform to be of help, to be of assistance, to be of promotion to the country that I love so much, my home, Jamaica.
My name's Judith Slater, and I'm the British High Commissioner to Jamaica. My experience so far at the Diaspora conference has been absolutely fantastic. There's a big delegation from the UK who are here to see what they can do, both to explore business opportunities here in Jamaica, but also to give back to the Jamaican community, which is extremely inspiring and uplifting. And I'm really enjoying connecting with everybody over the next couple of days.
My experience so far is very good. A lot of information, a lot of knowledge. Just here trying to give back to the diaspora community and bring awareness and understanding to the diaspora.
Great. My experience has been fantastic. I've seen some old friends, made some new friends, and definitely lots of business content and information. So time well spent.
I'm excited to be here in Montego Bay for this Diaspora conference. I'm looking forward to seeing the network build Jamaica. Yeah, for those who are abroad, who haven't been back to Jamaica, link with Jamaicans and understand that it is a safe enough place. We have a lot of opportunities, and together we can make Jamaica great. I am personally excited about the social investment that the diasporians will invest in to really build our youth and to build our economy. So let's see what happens. It's going to be a great day, and I'm also happy to host the third day to help to put everything together, the closing ceremony.
Yeah, hi, I'm Roxanne Schmeichel, and I'm excited about exploring various investment opportunities within Jamaica. So I'm looking forward to that.
What's going on, everyone? Throp here, and it is not too late to register for the Jamaican Diaspora Conference. The networking already here has been spectacular. The panel I was on, I'm sorry you missed it, was amazing as well. But it's very, very important, I always say, to come to international conferences like this, even if you're remotely interested in investing or moving here. To me, this is one of the best ways you can just dip your toe in the water of starting out your own personal journey of accomplishing whatever goal that you have. It's not too late. Still a lot of great information and great panels ahead. Prime Minister is coming tomorrow. You don't want to miss that either.
JISTV.